Welcome and happy day, everybody. Welcome to Froggy Friday. My name is Barb Samuel, and I am the co-spiritual leader along with Reverend Gwen Smith, who can't join us today. She's spending time with her grandbabies on this lovely, lovely August day with her family. But she sends her love and her well wishes and sends all the goodness to everybody here today. We have a beautiful morning, evening, day plan for everybody. We have the incredible Reverend Melody Bailey in the house. Come on, show me those fingers. Come on, come on. If you are here for the first time, we welcome you. If you are here for the 100th time, we welcome you. If you are just popping in to see what we feel like, please pop in every other Friday because we have guest speakers, often different guest speakers, different singing going on. We have different people who open us up with treatment and close us up with benediction. And we have singing. You got to have singing, right? So we have a theme song that we sing in Froggy Friday, which, if this is your first time, stands for Full Realization of God, FROG. We are the full realization of God, and we stand on the heels and the shoulders of our beautiful founder, Reverend Connie Phelps, who just took us down this path of joy and love and harmony. So listen, we're going to open it up and we're going to sing. And you know this song. Feel free to join in with me. We are one people, one strong heartbeat, just one spirit shining bright within us all. We are part of one another. We're born to love each other. When it's all said and done, we are one. Sing it out. We are one people, one strong heartbeat, just one spirit shining bright within us all. We are a part of one another. We're born to love each other. When it's all said and done, we are one. Let's take it up. We are one people, one strong heartbeat, just one spirit shining bright within us all. We are part of one another. We're born to love each other. When it's all said and done, we are one. When it's all said and done, let me see those spirit fingers. We are one. Woo! Hi, Karen. Welcome, welcome. So happy to see you. So listen, we're going to open up as we do all things. We're going to lay our spiritual foundation with the spiritual mind treatment. And if you're new the first time, that is an affirmative prayer. We're just drawing in all of those things in our life that are good, and we're solidifying it. And I'm going to ask Alfred if he would open us up, please.
So I'm asking each of you to just take a deep breath. As we know this truth, there's one source of life that I call God. This source of life is power, is energy in emotion, love, peace, and light. There is no spot or condition where this quality is not. Is in the existence of living and living things, and it is working impassionately. I know I am the one with this source of life, which is also undivided to this community. I know each one of us has this quality of God. In that sense, we are power, we are energy, we are peace, we are light. That is deeply expressing through us in a perfect, whole, and a complete way. And I know we move and have our being through this life. This is the truth to each and every one of us. Right here, right now, I now acknowledge the truth of this community, knowing that we are the light of this world, and we always shines more light everywhere. Now, as we begin this class, I know we are guarded by the power of beauty, harmony, peace, and conditional love that surrounds and directs each and every one of us. I know this teaching always expands and deeply and sink into our consciousness impassionately and bring new awareness of life, making our relationship more healthy, leading to creation of a world that works for everyone.
Mm.
I know as we remember this truth of who we are, we always allow a free room that is full of authenticity, that create courage, compassion, and connection of this community, hence moving freely and easily. I am now so grateful for this community. I'm so grateful for this knowledge, and I'm so grateful for this place of connections and love. I now lead this work into perfect action of the law, believing and trusting it's already done in the mind of God, as so it is.
And so it is. Thank you, Alfred. Alfred is one of 6 newly licensed practitioners for CSLKenya, everybody. Just laying it down, holding that consciousness in that sacred space. Thank you so much for that, Alfred. We are so proud and happy to receive you. Thank you. Okay, so we're going to start with some announcements today. The way, if this is the first time that you've been here, we change it up from time to time, the order of service, but we will have a talk, we will have affirmations, we'll have some more singing, and we will have time to close off and share. If you're looking for special treatment after following the service, you can put your hand up and we'll arrange a room for you to go into a private room with a practitioner. Here's what I want our practitioners to know. Do not sign off. We need you. Last week you left us. If you are a licensed practitioner, stay online because we might need you. Stay with us, okay? All right. So next Froggy Friday, I'm just going to look in my calendar. It is the 19th of August and we have Reverend Catherine Cardinal going to deliver a talk. I think that's right. It's not you this time, is it, Michelle? Next week, the week after? It's Catherine. No, Michelle's like, no, it is not me. Do not do that to me. So Reverend Catherine Cardinal is going to come and shine her light on the 19th. I also want to give a shout out to Flaminia, who is one of our newest licensed practitioners, Wilkester, who is one of our ministerial students, and Michael, who is also a practitioner at the center, who are going to Geneva next week to represent Kenya. They're going to Geneva to represent us, and they're handing out the beautiful save the date cards for our conference that is February 1st through 4th, 2024, that Philip created. We are in the midst of some incredible, beautiful things. Flaminia is here. I see her signing on as well. So listen, there she is. She's going to represent, holding the head up high and just telling everybody about who we are and what we do in Kenya and inviting them to our conference. I also want to pass the torch right now over to Karen to share a little bit about a really special moment that has just recently happened and that is continuing to grow our community. Karen, will you share a brief moment about that?
Absolutely. It's almost funny that you use the words passing the torch, because yesterday the new practitioners, Paul and Agnes and Nancy, and the coming up practitioners, I have to mention them too, like Patrick, we were meeting together to plan the process of the Kenyan-led youth group. Now, we've always had youth group here in the United States, all on Zoom, and now they're doing it too. The basis of what they were using was the 4 agreements. The first agreement is the power, keeping the power of your word. And it was so exciting to hear Alfred this morning because he used so many powerful words that we know that our youth group will be using as they continue to plan and attend camp. So the process of choosing power words, freedom, creativity, connection, love, when they choose a word that's going to help them find success in life and in the next term at school, then we know that that's the first step of developing our own affirmations. So you can see that the whole process of Science Mind is working now through, and we've passed that torch, the practitioners in Kenya. And therefore, we are so proud of you. It was so exciting yesterday to do the planning. Now, I did not attend camp because if I remember right, Kenya times are different and it was in the middle of our night. But I'm hoping that everybody came and they had an absolutely wonderful time. And that's our youth camp.
Thank you, Karen. I want to give a shout out to Nancy too. Just great leadership and just remarkable vision. So our babies are in good hands. Karen, thank you.
And the exciting part was that they can all now run a Zoom and breakout rooms and recording. And that was our learning curve yesterday.
Wow. Okay, so we are setting our intentions as we grow and evolve and share. This is pivotal right now in our community, friends, because it is not just those of us that are gathering here today. It's the youth and it's the young adults that are next. And it's the babies that are happening that will carry this consciousness and learn this teaching that we know is life transformational because it has happened to us. So thank you for being willing to share, Karen. Thank you, Nancy. Thank you, all of you, and thank you to the parents who said yes, the kids are coming, and thank you to the kids who said yes, I want to be part of. So this is wonderful. Okay, we have a beautiful speaker today. She is very special to me. Reverend Melody and I went through ministerial class together. We've been doing this a long time. So Paul, you were talking about what's next. It's the baby steps and it's the giant leaps and it's the settling in. I love her. I adore her. She's brilliant. She's wise beyond wise. She espouses this teaching. She walks the walk. She talks the talk. She is uber busy within the organization of Kenya and CSL Kelowna. We both are staff ministers there as well. I adore her. I treasure her. I value her. I'm so excited to share this platform with her. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together and welcome Reverend Melody Bailey. Let me see it. Let me see it. Mel, shine so bright, baby.
Oh, man. Now I have to follow that. Ooh, okay. Well, my talk today is on the ego made me do it. And I have to admit it, I have been hijacked by the ego. I have been found guilty of judging others, of judging myself, of unloving thoughts. You get the drift. And these are all ego-driven. Now, I have been exploring the ego for a while now and have discovered a few things. You may have noticed that the talk title is The Ego Made Me Do It and not My Ego. And there are a couple of reasons for that. First of all, I see the ego as something that tries to control me by creating negative experiences in my life, such as thoughts and feelings and beliefs of victimhood, pride, superiority, inferiority, self-centeredness. You get the drift with those too. The ego is not my friend. It is no one's friend. When I look back at my life, I can see that I took a certain amount of self-responsibility, but there were often times when I blamed others or judged others. I can think of a situation from when I worked at admitting at the local hospital, and I would cover for the bed allocation desk on breaks. And I would write in all the new admissions to the rooms and the patients that were being sent there. And then when the admission clerk came back, I would give her the updated sheets. And she always printed new ones when she returned. And this rubbed me the wrong way for a couple of reasons. I'm very environmentally aware, and the paper waste made me twitch a little bit. And I thought that this was a judgment on me because of my handwriting, which is pretty bad. I should have been a doctor, but I'm not. But after a while, I realized I was judging her from an ego perspective as being wrong for not being the same as me, for doing things differently. She was not suffering from this judgment because I never shared it with her, but I was suffering from seeing her in a bad light. I had become attached to the juice that I got from being the injured party and being right, or is that righteous? I also became aware that I have areas in my life where I am a perfectionist and may act in a similar way. Once I realized I was judging and coming from the ego, I got over it. It no longer bothered me. But it did remind me of a saying. When you point a finger at someone else, you have 3 fingers pointing back at yourself. This is to demonstrate that what we see in others is also in us, or we wouldn't see it, recognize it, or judge it. As I have mentioned before, and cannot state often enough, the science of mind teaches that we are one. Secondly, we all appear to have this ego, and the ego works by projecting a story onto us that makes us believe that we are separate, that we are special or superior. It wants these feelings in us to maintain that sense of separation, and that is why we all think we have our own ego, because we feel separate. When we see ourselves as apart from, in conflict with, or in competition with others, we feel guilt, which we then project out to other people. Attack, rejection, being the victim feel real because there is an unconscious desire for separation when we believe and listen to the ego. And this is the cause of all pain and conflict. And it requires a strong practice of self-forgiveness to resolve. How does the ego work? Well, picture the movie Ratatouille. And for those who haven't seen it, it is basically a cartoon where a rat communicates with this young man by standing on his head underneath the chef hat and pulling on his hair and directing him in what to do in the kitchen and how to cook. So picture the rat as the ego pulling our hair and making us judge others, compete with them, look down upon them, or even look up to them and see ourselves as less than others, see ourselves as separate. And we have no idea this is going on. We don't know that the rat or the ego is running the show. When we are aware of it, we are often victim to the ego. However, when we are aware of it, we can change it. Any one of us who have taken Science of Mind classes have likely started and continue on with the practice of self-awareness, being aware of our thoughts and feelings. It does take practice, but once we have this awareness, we can pay attention to when the ego is trying to attack us. Whenever I am in judgment or hating on someone, this is ego attack. The ego attacking me by making me believe these thoughts and feelings. That's a sad statement. How my interest in learning about the ego and overcoming the ego has outpictured for me has been one heck of a journey. A journey that started with my interest in all things spiritual, that deepened with my studies of the science of mind and learning affirmative prayer. Our teaching focuses on oneness, unity, love, forgiveness, all these wonderful things and tools provided to help us. As I mentioned before, the greatest tool is one of being aware. And that there were many times that I have been hijacked by my ego and not been aware of it. You likely have had these experiences too and been unaware that they were ego-driven. Have you ever really been stressed about a situation with another person and you really want to blame them and mentally attack them and have them be the bad guy? maybe even have them suffer for what they have done. Am I alone here? I have, and it took deep spiritual practice to get me through. I can often now catch myself before even a thought is formed as I look at someone, and then choose to think differently, to not judge. But there have also been times when I have really struggled with this. I had an experience a while back, and for me, a while back can be anything from a week ago to 10 years. In this experience, I judged someone as verbally attacking me and not being truthful, being manipulative, blah, blah, blah. I could go on. Every time I thought about him, I would get angry. My blood pressure would raise and I would feel justified in my anger and my resentment. But who was the one suffering? Me, not him. He had no idea I was going through all of this. I was the one in hell. So I did what any good religious scientist would do. I prayed, and I prayed my butt off. I really meant it. I felt that there was a war going on in my mind. The one part, the higher self, the Christ consciousness that is in all of us, in me, in you, one with all, versus that part that was the ego. Oh, I pictured the ego as an attack, like an octopus on my brain. So there's the octopus, the ego, surrounding my mind, higher self, and it's trying to manipulate me by poking into different parts of my brain and creating anger, fear, self-doubt, wanting the other person to hurt. And this is what was causing all the suffering. So I used affirmative prayer. And after about a week of mental and physical suffering, I went deep, deep into prayer and fully surrendered, turned everything over to God, and really did let go of all the juice that I was getting from the ego-driven feelings. That is when things shifted. Once I was willing to let go of the desire to be right, to be the victim, to be hurt, to be able to surrender, that evening when I prayed in full surrender, knowing full forgiveness for that person and full forgiveness for myself for seeing him this way. Well, when I woke up the next morning, OMG, it was gone. I was at peace. I could clearly see the other person, not as the person I had seen him as before, but as part of the one. I could see him and not get angry or mad or frustrated or want to make him hurt like I felt he had hurt me. When I could look at things objectively, I could see how my thoughts and feelings and beliefs had played a part in creating the whole situation. Again, because we are all one. I saw this person now and felt at peace towards him and could honestly wish him well. Now, the ego is rather attached to us. It doesn't want us to die, but it seems not to want the best for me. I do not want to be attached to it or have it run my life. And as I have said before, awareness of when it is operating is huge in being able to release its grip, but it really does put up a fight. Now, I have to be honest, I've been cranky and pissy for the last few weeks, on and off. And in the times when I'm not cranky, I can clearly see that this is the ego putting up a fight because I am making progress in detaching from it. For example, yesterday, I started getting very angry. My townhouse complex is having the whole outside, doors, windows, walls, everything updated. And they are working on the 300 block opposite me and the 400s where I live. And the 300s, the place opposite me, have all their carports full of equipment, as do most of our places. And I can manage to park in one half of my carport, but the other is blocked off with their stuff. And the people opposite me keep parking in front of their carport and taking up half the roadway. I managed to navigate my way out yesterday to go shopping, but couldn't get back in again because of the angle of the way the car was parked. So I had to park a block away as all the road parking is being used by all of us who can't get into our car parks. So I was walking back with my groceries, you know the walk, 10 bags stomping along, trying to get them all in one go. And I was having a mental conversation with myself about calling the tow truck on them and it would serve them right. And I was halfway back when I had to laugh at myself. Here I am in the middle of writing this talk about not letting the ego have its way with me, and I am happily letting the ego have its way with me. Now that took the edge right off, and I happily walked the rest of the way home. Was I in the right? It doesn't matter. I was the one suffering from my judgment of them. If they are doing something wrong, I'm sure karma, otherwise known as cause and effect, will take care of it, because you get what you put out in life. It's not my job to take care of it. But back to that struggle with the ego. Quite a few years ago, I picked up a book called Power versus Force by David Hawkins. And this is all about determining truth versus falsehood, but also contains a lot on the ego and letting it go. And I had a really interesting time reading this book. I'm an avid reader and I can pick up a book and knock it off pretty quickly. But this book, not so much. It wasn't that I wasn't enjoying it or didn't want to read it, but I found myself instead doing the dishes, taking out the garbage, or even doing my taxes instead of actually reading the book. It confused me. Why was I doing this? And it wasn't until I finally finished the book and realized that the portion of it was on killing the ego that I realized this was the ego trying to prevent me from reading the book by distracting me. Sneaky. Now, David Hawkins also wrote another book called Letting Go. And a similar process might have occurred when I was reading, but I stopped it in its tracks because I was wise to this and I just ignored any thoughts of distraction when reading it. And one last story that I have shared before, so you may have heard it, but it is pertinent. A short summary is that when I came back from Asilomar, which is where we have our ministerial intensive, and it was when Barb and I came back and we became ministers for the first time, and I was on an emotional high. The new practitioners probably know what I mean. And I came back to find that a colleague had been promoted to being my boss. And I used to be their supervisor. My emotional high crashed and burned. I was in so much pain because I was overly attached to being a supervisor and thought I was next up for the promotion. It's all ego here. And it had me in its grips. It caused pain on and off for nearly a year. That is how long it took for me to finally release the juice that I was getting from being the injured party. I believed that having the title supervisor defined me. And when my colleague was promoted to being my boss, it shook me to my core because of this unhealthy, ego-driven attachment to a title and judgment about her worthiness about the job. It took all of my spiritual practices to release the attachment, see my part in the whole situation, forgive her, forgive myself for seeing her this way. But it worked. So a summary of the many ways to not let the ego run your life. As I have mentioned, awareness is first and most crucial tool. Also, as we say in the Science of Mind, principles before personalities. When people seem to be irritating you or making you angry, ask yourself, what is it in you that is reacting to this? And once you know what that is, then letting it go is a lot easier. And when observing that you are being hijacked by that ego, that octopus manipulating your thoughts or the rats pulling on your hair, you can use affirmative prayer to help change your perspective and forgive yourself for judging others. Forgive others when you find yourself judging them, and keep forgiving yourself every time the ego is having its way with you. If you want to delve deeply into understanding the ego, you could read any of David Hawkins' books, Don Miguel Ruiz's The Four Agreements, particularly the Don't Take It Personally section, Eckhart Tolle's The Power of Now and Pay Attention to the Pain Body sections, and Wayne Dyer on the Ego Illusion. And of course, study the Science of Mind. As Wayne Dyer stated, the ego is only an illusion, but a very influential one. Letting the ego illusion become your identity can prevent you from knowing your true self. Ego, the false idea of believing that you are what you have or what you do, is a backwards way of assessing and living life. Namaste.
Reverend Melody. Woo! Such wisdom, such wisdom. Oh my gosh, thank you so much for shining your light with us. Yes, Mary Jane's holding up the hearts. I'm going to send a reaction too. Yay! Flaminia is saying thank you. I love the analogy of the octopus. Oh my gosh, I love that. Does anybody, let's open up the floor. Everybody, wonderful. Flaminia is saying thank you, thank you. Does anybody want to ask any questions of the wonderful, wise Reverend Melody, or a comment, or something that this Crispin has raised his hand, something that has sparked a memory? Or go ahead, Crispin, unmute yourself and share.
Okay, I have no questions, but I have some comments to make as far as Melody's subject is concerned. Oh, well, I feel very happy because I've been with Melody in more than 2 classes as my teacher, and I'm happy to see her around. Well, I think Melody has just inoculated me spiritually, and I now know the power of awareness, being aware. And I would just advise the fellow CSL community to join my bandwagon so that we can fly this route together home. And again, I've just learned from Melody that awareness is key in the spiritual kinetics. You get to know, or you have the ability to know what to change and what to accept. And therefore, I'm very grateful and happy for having been part of this great community, CSL. Thank you.
Thank you, Crispin.
Thanks, Crispin. It's great to see you.
We love having you too. Thank you. Thank you so much. You're getting great talk, Reverend Mel, inspiring message, very insightful, and it resonates with people. Does anybody else, would you like to share anything else or ask with Reverend Melody? I love your honesty and transparency, Mel, when you talked about coming back from ministerial class and or be graduating and becoming a minister, and we're on this high and nothing, you feel like nothing can tear you down. You're on the ride and you come back and boom. And that's the humanness in it, right? And how you handled it and your honesty, and that it took a year for you to navigate through that. I love that.
It was painful, but I got there, and I actually, we'll stop and chat with the lady in question, and we still work together. So it all worked out.
Wonderful. Paul, are you going to jump in? Is that why you're unmuted? Is it time for you to sing your song?
Yes, I wanted to appreciate what Reverend Melody has said, and just to echo that one statement, principle over personality. That has really resonated with me. Thank you, Reverend Melody, for that.
It's powerful, isn't it? Principle over personality. And if we can live and walk in that way, it does transform our life. It brings that awareness. Flaminia, your hand is raised. Go ahead, friend.
Yes. So I wanted to say that like for me, the real difference that Science of Mind made is that I now, after all this time being in classes and practitioner, etc., like I can finally find myself a little bit like Melody. So really recognize when the ego is acting. And so sometimes you can't stop the ego, and like it is there, it's like an octopus or even worse, but at least you recognize. And so many times before Science of Mind, maybe I was reading books like Eckhart Tolle, but the thing is that it always stayed theoretical. So I was reading, okay, this is the ego, this is what's happening. But the truth is that with science of mind, this is where you really do that. So on a daily basis, you walk in the street and you're like, oh, shut up, come on, you again. And like, so it's the different approach. It's not just a nice theory, but it's like really, it becomes a way of living your days, right? Then sometimes you forget and you've got your peers around, but yet you have the tools to recognize it and to move forward. Also because the ego is not that bad. Sometimes through ego we have art and music and passions and, you know, all these kind of things. So maybe we wouldn't have all this without the ego. But so we know when we are playing the victim and not, and when we have the tools to come out of it. Thanks,
You're right, Flamingo.
Melody.
As you're saying that, it makes me feel, you know, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results. We have to change and use different tools in order to evolve. Yes, Reverend Mel, did you say?
No, absolutely. I mean, and it's a huge learning process as you learn to let go of that ego. Then it gets subtler and subtler and subtler until you're like, huh, that thought almost got there, but I stopped it.
Right, right. Philip, your hand is raised.
Yes.
Yes, I would like to chime in by saying that when we become aware of what has been holding us back, we can never unlearn it. And I came up with that term, like sense of mind is a boomerang of awareness. So whenever you fall into that victim state, it comes back, and it comes back to remind you that everything is perfect, whole, and complete. And yeah, the ego, as Flamini has said, the ego is not always bad. And when we try to kill it, we can never be successful. What I do is, since I'm aware that the ego has been driving me all my life, I just tell it that now it's my turn to drive, and pick the music. And choosing the music is choosing the music consciously, and understanding that, yes, now be still and know that I'm the driver. Thank you.
Love it.
I love it. The boomerang. I love it. I love it. Well, Reverend Melody wanted us to sing a song that resonated with her for this this talk that she shared with us. So I'm just going to share. This is a Karen Drucker song, and it's called "You Are the Face of God." Do we know this song? Does everybody know this song? Mel, would you like to sing it, or would you like me to lead it?
I'll have you lead it. Thank you.
Okay. And so join in with me, friends. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are my family. You are the face of God. And so as we sing this, you can say, I am the face of God. Sing it to yourself. I hold you in my heart. I am a part of me. I am the face of God. And you are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are my family. You are the face of God. We are the face of God. We are the face of God. Beautiful, beautiful. Oh my goodness. How are we feeling? Oh, Michelle's like, yeah. Karen's like, all right, all right. And we see Lamech has joined us too. How are we loving our Froggy Friday time together? I want you to chime in and tell me, what does this moment mean to you? Can we evolve it in a different way? Can we share differently? We want to know what Froggy Friday means to you and what you get out of it. If you're willing to share, and I think some of us shared talking about the ego too, what we get out of this teaching. Can this look different? Can this stay the same? We want input from you. You're the one coming and hanging out with us. We're the one sharing life. We want to know how that feels for you. Duke, how does it feel for you? Talk to me, my friend. You're muted. I put you on the spot.
Sometimes, okay, how are you all? I'm glad to see you all. And sometimes I lack words because when I'm very much overjoyed, I lack words to speak. But always you can see it from my smile. And the sharing of Reverend Melody has touched me. And even though I came in late, I've rushed from somewhere. And I was really, really disturbed on how I'm going to make it to Froggy Friday so early and catch up with the rest, but I made it. I even ran because I never, okay, if you can see, I have a huge body, and you can imagine how I was running to cover up with others and to catch up with the program. You can imagine how I was sweating.
I now have a visual, Duke, and I am so grateful for your commitment. I love you. I'm so grateful. Thank you for sharing.
I'm glad. I'm very glad. I'm very glad. And
we're so glad.
The topic of that principle over personality, you understand, me and Patrick and James, we can do something about that topic and say kanuni kuhusu utu binafsi. So it is really something which is very, very, which has come to my inside. And
thank you, Duke. We love that you make every effort to show up with
Barbara, you can remember, I can even stand and start dancing about it, and you know. I'm glad, I'm happy.
I'm glad we're happy together. Thank you, Duke. Thank you. Hey, and I want all of you to know that Reverend Gwen has her plane ticket. She's coming in October. She's coming.
Yeah,
y'all gonna be pressing some flesh. Getting close, hugging, touching. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah, I'm very much aware about that, and we are really feeling glad for Ra to come over and even share much with us.
Thank you, Duke.
There are lots of things, good things coming, I understand.
Yes, there are. Thank you for your sharing. Now I want to give another opportunity. And Jerry, if I'm saying it right, I want to say it right. Can you pop in and tell us how you feel about Froggy Friday and what you're getting out of it and your thoughts? We are open to changes. We are open to reflections. We're open. Okay. She could be driving. Listen, we had a beautiful morning, evening, day together. It says my internet's unstable. Am I still with you? Am I with you? Okay. That's the ego telling me it's unstable. No. I'm going to let you know that we are going to open our prayer rooms at the end of our service today. So if you want a spiritual mind treatment, if you want a practitioner to treat for you and you can go into a private room, just put your hand up and Michelle will put you into another room. Practitioners stay around. I want to let you know that we, again, we have Reverend Catherine joining us on the 19th. what else? Hold a high watch for our practitioners going to Geneva and their safe travel and wonderful experience that they come back and share with all of us upon their return. And we just want to thank you, Reverend Melody. So we want to do some affirmations. Reverend Melody had some affirmations. We're going to get you all to unmute, and she's going to say the affirmations, and then we will repeat them after her. So unmute, everybody unmute. Reverend Mel, will you say these and we'll follow you?
Absolutely. My heart is filled with love and joy.
My
Heart is filled with love and joy.
I radiate positive energy to all of those around me.
I radiate
Radiate positive energy to all of those around me.
I always focus on the positive.
I always focus on the positive.
Thank you. And Paul, we're going to have you close us out. Duke, I see your hand is raised. If anybody else wants treatment, that's beautiful. Reverend Melody, we welcome you back anytime. We love you. We treasure you. We value you. I adore you, friend. I love you, sister. Paul, will you close us out?
Thank you. As I close up, I also want just to state and just remind all of us that we are the place of God. We are the place of God. So join me as I appreciate and express gratitude for this sharing that we have had, for this expansion of consciousness, for this love that has transpired amongst ourselves, and for this reminder that we should always remember that principle takes precedence over personality. I'm grateful for this. And until we meet again, I know we are all perfect, guided, and guarded. And so it is.
Thank you, Paul. Now, Paul doesn't know I'm going to ask him to do this. We were joking around about it earlier today, but Paul, sing this song where you started. I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has its being. I am the place where God shows up. Take it, Paul.
I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has its being. I am the place where God shows up.
Everybody, come on, let's go. I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has its being. I am the place where God shows up. Just hand on your heart and say, I am the place where God shows up. I am the place where God shows up. I am the place where God shows up. God has shown up at Froggy Friday by each of us individually today. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for sharing your life with us. Thank you for coming on time. Thank you for continuing to hold that light and presence. We are forever eternally connected globally around the world. On behalf of Reverend Gwen and I and our entire board of directors and the CLF Foundation, we love you. We treasure you. Yes, Mary Jane, show those hearts. We value you. We expect you. We expect you. We anticipate you, and we love you. Who's going to get some treatment?
So, Flaminia, I have you going in with Duke. So I'm going to open the rooms. Flaminia is the only one that really needs to go at this time, unless we have other people who want prayer.
Is there anybody else? Then go forth and shine the love and light that you are. Peace and blessings, everyone. I'll stop the recording, but I will not sign out, Michelle.